Do you remember how yesterday we covered a series of TikTok videos made by Love is Blind season 6 star Jeramey's ex-girlfriend? Well, today Jeramey has decided to clap back against her allegations, and let me warn you, he is angry and it is absolutely palpable through the screen. By the time I finished watching his video, I felt like I did something and I need to apologize and get ready to go up against his legal team or whatever. Take a look at the video, but before we get into it, I want you guys to notice that he never actually denies that there was a serious altercation that led to the police being called. In fact, he verifies that, but he just says that there's no police report about it, which to me is like, well, so long as you are acknowledging that you did something so bad to this woman that police were called, I know that something serious was happening. And you, of course, to save your own behind, are not going to tell the full truth on what that is. So his ex-girlfriend only released 4 parts, but she said that there are a couple other parts coming, which of course I will update you on when they come. But yeah, that really stuck out to me. I'm like, okay, well, listen, you did do some serious things for her to be calling the police on you and for the police to be interrogating you about the amount of guns that you have in your home. It's just that they didn't make a police report about it, apparently, which I do find to be rather odd, because where I'm from, they make police reports pretty much anytime they have some sort of interaction with you. So, I do find that odd, but I would have to look up North Carolina and how all of that works over there. Perhaps it is reasonable if no charges are filed in North Carolina. I'm not sure, but take a look at Jeramey's video and we'll talk a little bit more afterwards.
So I'm a pretty fun, lighthearted person in general. However, this is not a laughing matter. We're going to go ahead and talk about these gun accusations that have been thrown my way by a Miss Meredith Walsh. And we're going to throw some challenges, to say the least, at this story. So let's go ahead and dive into it. I didn't watch all of the videos in pure detail, only because I already know what's going to be said. This isn't the first time I've heard this. So let's just go ahead and dive into it. It's not going to be a 6, 7, 14-part video like the other ones have been. We're just going to go ahead and knock it out in one. So 1, we're going to go ahead and address the false accusations. Yes, I was falsely accused in 2016. 2, why? I wish I knew why. To this day, I still don't know why. The only thing that I can think of is the night that this all happened, I had discovered that she was actually going around behind my back and seeing someone else. Something that I had long suspected was happening. So was able to get confirmation that night. None of this story happened. This just isn't a thing. So let's continue to go down the little rabbit trail here. So 1, let's address the whole police situation. Me being held at gunpoint, being placed in a cop car. None of this happened. The way something like that would happen is if I'm held at gunpoint, I'm placed in a cop car. Don't you think that there would be a police report over something like that? Something that serious. Don't you think there would be a police report for that? There is no police report. Yes, you did falsely accuse me of this, but there wasn't enough to go off of because the shit never happened. So let's continue. There's no police reports, nothing available about this. I've even tried finding it. I tried finding it after it all happened. I tried finding it, a week ago at this point because all of this stirred back up for, again, the second time. The police department doesn't even have it. They never filed a report on it, never did anything because there was nothing to go off of. Why? Because nothing happened. So, let's continue to go. Switch this damn page. Little heated over this, if you can't tell. I would like to ask some of my legal friends in the audience about something like this. So, in a situation like this that is supposedly this severe, it doesn't matter if someone doesn't want to press charges. The police are going to make that ultimate decision, and then so is the district attorney. The reason I know that is I was falsely accused of this and had to go through the whole damn thing. I understood how anything could work at this point, just because I was on the other side of this. I didn't know what was going on. I had to figure it out. So 1, there's no police report. 2, I was never held at gunpoint on anything, was never put in a police car. None of that ever happened. 3, if this was serious and if it actually happened, something would have come of this. There would be some evidence of it somewhere. And if anybody can find that report, like I said before, send it to me. I'd love to have a copy of it. So let's address my pew-pews that were in the house. So I had, at the time, 5 guns. 3 of them were inoperable. 2 of them were, one was from my dad. It was a 22, just rifle, old 22 rifle. The second one was a World War II rifle. Neither of those worked. The third one was a single lever action shotgun, like a farming shotgun, that I had gotten from my grandfather that was from like 1942. Also didn't work. I did have my own shotgun, I had my own rifle, but I also like to hunt and shoot. Sorry, it's a thing that people do. One of the things I am most upset about with this whole situation is I elected to turn those over that night to not have any future problems. Just be like, you know what? I don't feel like being accused of this again. I don't like this. Go ahead and take them. They're like, hey, you'll get them back. I never got those back. Not because there was ever any evidence of it ever happening, but because I learned the hard way, if you choose to turn things over like that, good luck ever getting anything back, and those were destroyed. I lost things from my father that night. I lost things from my grandfather that night, all over a lie. I've gotten over that, but obviously with this coming back up, it drums up a little bit of that kind of raw emotional feeling there. So we're going to address a couple of the bullet points here. Again, I didn't watch all the videos. I don't want to watch all the videos. I don't care to watch all of these videos. But there was a couple of funny topics that I'd like to discuss. So one, it's not like me to stay out all night and do things like that. Talking about Meredith saying she doesn't stay out all night, go out drinking, all that stuff. A couple of these things I can't prove. One of them I can. It was an every weekend event where this person was out till 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, completely no-showing, completely disappeared, had no idea where she was at. I'm 23, 24 at the time, an emotional wreck. I don't know what to do about it, so I just kind of sat and dealt with it. I was really, excuse my language, fucking stupid for doing that, but that's what I did. The one thing I can prove, and I'm not going to, you guys can go look this up yourself, I'm not going to just give it out at this point. I can back this up because there's a DUI from a week before we left to come to Florida where she pulled the same shit. She got pulled over at 1 o'clock in the morning driving from leaving a house party. Again, look that up in Sarasota County. You can find it. It's there. There's evidence of that. Here's something else I can't prove. It did happen, but we're just going to throw it out there. Is a couple of months to maybe a year after this all happened, I actually ended up getting an apology email from Meredith over this whole situation. She didn't have a way to contact me over the phone. She didn't have a way to, reach me anywhere else. So she emailed me on my work email. Unfortunately, I don't work with that company anymore, so I lost that email, but that did happen. I can't prove it. Maybe I can find it at some point. Here's my favorite part of all this. Since all of this has happened, we've actually been in contact with each other. We've been cordial up through all of this. We were working together on a marketing project as recent as last year, which, again, without giving too much away, working together on a marketing project for a business that I was working on that happened right before I went on the show. She is one of the people that knew I was going on the show because I had to pause working with her because obviously I've got no contact with the outside world while I'm doing that, so had to put it on pause. Also, texting me saying, hey, don't get married on that show, then you and I couldn't get married. Obviously, I took that as a joke because that would never happen to begin with. What did happen, though, is when I got back from the show, I went down to Tampa, and I was with my significant other at that time, and taking a break after the show, just going and relaxing, I get a text message from her asking, hey, what are you doing in Tampa? I guess she found my location on social media or something I had posted, whatever. And I told her directly, came to town for the weekend, need to get out of Charlotte after the show, wrapped up just to chill. And all the response I get is, girlfriend, got it. I'll leave you be. So there's that right there. I'm saying all of this to sum up. If any of this was true, why would somebody be in contact with you? If you were so fearful of what I had done by supposedly pointing a gun at you, would you not want to press charges? You knew where my other guns were. Would you not grab one and defend yourself? And then why would you circle back around with me and be cordial with me and work with me on projects, be texting with me? We had gone to a lunch at one point. Like, I'm just as surprised to see this all happening, just because I'm learning things about myself from these stories that I didn't even know. But two, I'm actually really not all that surprised. I know who you are as a person. I fucked up by letting you come back around. And you know what? Here's my repercussion for that. That's fine, but you're a liar. Moving forward, my legal team is going to handle this, and I've got nothing else to say. Thank you.
So did you notice how Jeramey also talked about how he had to relinquish his weapons? So why would you have to relinquish them if you didn't do anything? And I feel like him claiming that his ex continuing to do business with him or talk to him or whatever after the fact proves that nothing serious happened. But I don't find that to be true. I know well enough from watching a lot of criminal cases and whatnot and reading them, and from my own experience as well, that sometimes if something shocking happens to you or whatever, or traumatizing happens to you, your brain is just so sometimes it doesn't even register to you that this was a traumatic event, and you're just business as usual. You are continuing to interact with someone who did abuse you or did something terrible to you as if it's business as usual. And then later down the line, you go, wait a minute, So it's not abnormal and it's not out of the ordinary. And it's not a gotcha moment that his ex continued to speak to him after this. I think it is par for the course for alleged ABUSE victims, as has already been demonstrated repeatedly in the court of law and verified by psychologists in the past. So again, back to the pew pew thing situation. Jeramey never actually denies holding her at root point. He only says that he himself was not held at point, which is rather interesting. And again, he's like, oh, it wasn't a big deal because there was no police report. But again, why were you relinquishing your pew pews if that was the case? None of this is really adding up. He said that he tried to look up the case, but he never found it, which again, clearly he felt like something big enough happened for them to do a report if he's out here searching for it, right? But here's one thing. From what I'm aware of, and this is from a direct source from the police, they have said that a DV case, which this would fall under, is typically sealed. That's not something that they're going to pull up a transcript for you. You can even go down to the police station. And this is from a particular region, right? I don't know if it's the same all around the board, but that stuck out to me because I do remember this. They said, listen, this is not something that we disclose or keep open publicly the way that we would for other mundane things like neighborly disputes or whatever. DV is it's got an extra layer of privacy and protection to it. So that might be why we wouldn't be able to look up Jeramey's record or the police report involving this situation. So even he, as a person named in this thing, or his ex as a person named in this, wouldn't be able to find it if the rules of North Carolina are similar to the rules of this other region that has this rule. And now, speaking of the fact that he has all of these pew pews hidden around the house, what was the reason for that? I do find that to be rather strange. I remember his ex claiming that there was even one behind the couch and everything. He said some of them are vintage or didn't work or were gifted to him by his dad. And then he goes, oh, well, if you felt so threatened, why didn't you pull one out on me? What? That is just such a crazy thing to say, in my opinion. If this girl has no experience with this stuff, why would she pull one out and give you, who already is allegedly an aggressor, a reason as a trained and gun-obsessed person? That would be the perfect reason, for you to go ahead and pull the trigger on her and have the excuse that she pointed one at you. Did he hear himself with that? That was so ridiculous. That was probably the worst excuse I heard in the entire video. So anyway, all Jeramey's very angry TikTok video made me do was kind of think about his girlfriend's video a bit more and go, you know what? She's on to something. I'm going to wait for the rest of her series to drop because she did say that the rest of her series would involve some more concrete proof about what went down, because Jeramey's defense is to me she kept talking to me. Sorry, but victims typically do continue talking to their ABUSE TRs, especially if it was a very intimate relationship. Like, that's why they call it the cycle of ABUSE. That's why on average it takes 7 times to leave the person. The victim keeps coming back, so that wasn't a good defense in my opinion. And then the thing he said, well, why didn't she pull the trigger on me? Well, why would she even pick one up? So that you as the as a person who knows nothing about this stuff, so that you as the expert can pull one on her and play victim. It just didn't make any sense. So Jeramey, you tried with this, but to me it missed the mark. I don't know if it missed the mark for you guys as well. He says that he's not going to release any more because his lawyers will be handling it, but I hope that doesn't scare his ex from continuing on with her side of the story. It's not illegal to share the truth about what happened to you. And if she's telling the truth and she's got proof, she needs to just go ahead and continue. This happens often where people want to shut you up by threatening legal action. Go ahead, bring it on. The truth always prevails if she is indeed telling the truth, right? Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about this. Did Jeramey's response video kind of change how you felt about his ex's initial video? Do you think he's guilty or not of what it is that she's accusing him of doing? Let me know in the comment section down below. And do you think she'll actually back out of releasing the rest of her story and potentially delete what she's already put out there due to his legal threats? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And as usual, we'll chat. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already for more Love is Blind news and recaps and pop culture tea. Bye now.